I mean, I'll let you introduce your guest because I think it's actually quite important to mention his presence, seeing how it is my understanding, I heard from someone that he might be the developer of the DreamHack you're going to be running today.
Yep. Okay. So so with me here I have Benox50, and he made this thing, and yeah, this hack's really cool. I think he wanted to do like, I think there was like a short introductory thing that he wanted to say about it, maybe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So here I'm Benox50. My real name is like Benoît. Fait que je vais parler français aussi pour faire l'introduction. Fait que ça c'est un romac que j'ai fait là, dans mes temps libres. Ça a pris 3 ans à faire. Puis je suis quand même vraiment satisfait du résultat final. Fait qu'un romac, dans le fond, c'est une modification du jeu original. Puis ça, c'est Ascent. Et la grosse différence avec Ascent par rapport à d'autres romacks, c'est que c'est un peu comme trois mini-hacks. Il y a 3 mini-hacks comme un par-dessus l'autre. Puis il faut que tu transitionnes du bas jusqu'en haut. C'est pour ça que ça s'appelle Ascent. Et fait que c'est ça, genre, t'as comme un path linéaire, genre du bas jusqu'en haut. Mais chaque zone, chaque 3 zones, il y a beaucoup d'exploration que tu peux faire. C'est sûr que là, Azder va aller vite, fait qu'il va pas mal passer. Il va skipper pas mal de trucs, mais ça va être vraiment intéressant à regarder. Fait que je laisse Azder commenter le reste. So I will let Azder comment the rest in English for the run. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so I think I'm ready to go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'll be honest, you kind of caught me by surprise, but I still manage.
Yeah, so I think what Benox was saying is this hack is divided into 3 zones, which are kind of like they're almost like 3 different mini hacks in a sense that you do in a row. So each of the 3 zones has a point of no return. After which you fight a boss and you set a time bomb, and there's an escape sequence that goes off, but only that zone blows up. And then you go on to the next zone, and you do that, and you keep going until you've beaten all 3 of them. The 3 zones are pretty aesthetically different, and they all have different major items in them. We actually skipped quite a lot of major items in this, and the routing for this is very wide open. So you can pretty much run around in circles in this area, and not find your morph ball, which is right up there. I went over to the right to get bombs first. That's not required to go get first, but it just routes better this way. So pretty much within each zone, you can almost do things in whatever order you want. Here I'm going into a warp zone. The one for zone 1 is really small. There's not too much you can do with it, but it gets you from the west side to the east side pretty well. That E-tank is more of a safety tank, honestly. But things in this run, oh, didn't want to fall there. Things in this run can cost quite a lot of energy, actually. Oh. So you're kind of supposed to have high jump for this, but he also designed the room to let you do it without, like he, throughout the different versions, Benox made some changes to the placements of the platforms in this room and where that 0 starts, to make it kind of more ergonomic to wall jump up without high jump, if you choose to do that. And so I went and got charge beam before high jump, purely just for like routing purposes, because it just routes better this way. So high jump's over here. It's high jump and jump ball, which is like fusion and some other hacks like redesign. They combine high jump and spring ball into one item. So spring ball has kind of a replacement item in this that we'll get in zone 2. One other thing that's kind of noticeable about this, there's a lot of mechanics changes. One of the more commonly used ones in hacks is called respin. It's short for okay, made it. There's rising water in this room, and you have to beat it. You have to destroy those Evatites fast enough, so it doesn't catch up to you. This is an optional little area that I'm doing, by the way, for a W tank, a weapons tank. I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, so high jump and jump ball are one item. So now spring ball has a replacement, and this hack has respin as one of its mechanical changes. So that means I can restart a spin jump in midair if I break out a spin, which makes a lot of wall jumping applications easier, like lower risk to do, and it lets you do some things with wall jumps that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So I'm kind of just like going in a circle around this whole area and getting the items that I want to get. You don't really need anything from here except charge beam. Zone 1 actually also has plasma beam, and I am not getting it because it is actually not all that strong. It still does its normal plasma beam thing of cutting through enemies, but the beams actually, for any percent in particular, they end up not being too useful. This energy tank is very useful. It's very convenient to have there. I am picking up quite a lot of missiles though, and I'm picking up these W tanks as well, which are a custom item. There's a few custom items in this too, and they're pretty cool. This C block requires charge beam to destroy. Here's another W tank. So the W tanks are optional. I don't need to get them, but what they do is they increase. They actually increase all of your damage by 50% for each one that you pick up. Also, this door cap is labeled AB. That particular copy of that door cap is kind of like a little bit of a secret. You're supposed to blow up the AB cap from elsewhere. That room I was in is called, I think that room is called like Linked Doors Intro or something. So there are linked doors in this hack that are labeled, like the one that you just saw me blow up is AB. It means that there's another gray door somewhere else in the zone that's also labeled AB, and I need to destroy the colored version of it to be able to get through it, like I just did here. So if I hadn't destroyed that AB, that door would have been great, and I wouldn't have been able to get through it and progress. So like the way that these zones are laid out, they just have a whole bunch of key and lock scenarios. I'm getting through this first zone pretty quickly, because actually, so that, like I mentioned, that particular copy of the AB door cap is a bit of a secret. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go all the way to the east side and fight Bomb Chorizo, and go through a whole series of rooms and destroy a gate. And then that'll get you to the intended AB door cap. But this way is just a lot faster, and you don't have to fight Bomb Chorizo. It is kind of, so this is actually the end of Zone 1. Zone 1's very, very fast. It's pretty small. If you're doing 100%, then you'll spend a lot more time here. There's a lot of items I didn't get, but most of them are just, like, energy tanks and reserves and stuff. But the W tanks are really important for any percent, because they do, each one you pick up adds 50% to all damage that you do. Alright, so Spore spawns down, the boss of Zone 1, now we've got the timer. This is gonna happen for every zone. Thanks. I also picked up 50 total missiles so far, which is kind of a lot to have early for for most Super Metroid things, but there's no item fanfare in this, which makes missiles really quick to grab, and with the weapon tank stand, I think super useful. Okay, so now Zone 1 is blown up. It's destroyed. Now there is a bit of a twist as far as Zone 1 goes with this. You actually, part of Zone 2 actually requires you to revisit areas of Zone 1 after it's been destroyed. So you'll see like a post-apocalyptic kind of area pretty soon, me going back to Zone 1, but that's kind of the exception rather than the rule. So Zone 2, I'm coming over this way to grab another W tank, so I'll have 3 so far. And so I said W tanks each add 50% to all of your damage. So grabbing 3, the way that grabbing multiple works is that my damage will be plus 150%, so I'll be doing 2.5 times damage to everything that I would without grabbing any. So that makes a huge difference between 80% and low percent, actually. There are, oh, I want to grab this wall here, yeah. I need to be a little bit careful with my health, but I am hopefully getting an energy tank soon. So there are 9 W tanks in the game, and I'm going to be grabbing 5 of them. I also need pretty much every missile I can reasonably get for a very particular thing in Zone 3. So every missile that I can get without going very far out of the way, I will try and pick up. This is the boost ball, which is the replacement for the spring ball. So basically, you hold the run button, and it charges a boost. This is the Metroid Prime item. And basically, you just rocket forward. So using it can be. Oh, I did not mean to do that. That could have ended poorly. So it's kind of weird the way this hack is structured. Most of the stuff I'm doing right now, I don't have to do most of it. I don't have to get boost ball. There are ways around it. I don't have to get the W tanks. So it's actually been kind of a challenge to route getting all the things that you want efficiently. I say you don't need them, but if you want to do Zone 3 efficiently, you do end up needing pretty much all of the weapons that I grab here. Wow, I can't see. Respin's kind of saving me there. So I'm still kind of on the west side of, oh, how do I do this room again? Right, okay, I missed my exit.
Yeah, this is a bit slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it works.
I mean, the room name says it all.
Yeah.
I like the room names that you put into it.
Yeah, it's a bit like the VVVV game. That was the big inspiration for it.
So now I'm back in the first room of Zone 2. This room's pretty big. But I wanted to enter it up top above this Zebetite. This Zebetite takes a lot of missiles to destroy, and I didn't have the firepower, I didn't have the weapon tanks to do it properly before. But now I can get up here, and it's really important that I go and get this item. This is another custom item. It's called an E-Reducer for short, Shine Spark Energy Drain Reducer. And there are 4 of them in the game, and what they do is they reduce the amount of damage that you take when you use Shine Spark.
This wasn't, of course, the intended way to get it. Yeah, this was way faster.
Actually, so the way you're intended to get it is to use an anti-gravity switch, which reverses your gravity temporarily when you're in Morph Ball. And I'm thinking about it, and I don't know if I use maybe like one anti-gravity switch in the run, but I think every other use of them I pretty much get around by doing something else.
Yeah, they are pretty slow because the morph ball speed is slower when you are in reverse gravity.
Yeah, you can't do anything to speed yourself up. Boost doesn't work when you're in reverse gravity. So I'm gonna get my first super missile finally. This is totally the intended way to get it. Ow. Oh my god. These projectiles do a lot of damage. This is not good. Okay, there we go. First try.
Yeah, this one is hard. Of course, it's not the way you need to get it, but you need like to get the iframe, I think, and then you can go through the enemy. But normally what you need to do is like to use a super to kill the enemy, and then you can get it. So you basically need to have a super before that super.
Also, that is the power of Boost Ball. You can use respin to turn it into a momentum for your jump as well. I could grapple up here, but it's kind of slow and annoying. But getting that jump up there like that is actually quite difficult. But it's still probably better than grappling. All right, so this is Ridley. I'm gonna wait for him to show up here. This is actually series Ridley, and you do have to damage him to get him to go away. But now I just blew up this AD door. This AD door is actually very important. If you're paying really close attention, you might have noticed that when I entered... Oh, I didn't boost out of that. If you boost through that transition, you can actually just pop straight out of the ball, but I forgot to do that. But yeah, when I got into Zone 2, the door that shut behind me and locked is an AD door. So now I'll be able to go through it. But I'm actually not even going to go that way. There's a much bigger warp zone in Zone 2 than there was in Zone 1. And I'm going to be getting to it that way instead. Also, I made sure I grabbed grapple before here so that I could take advantage of this shortcut.
First try.
Yeah, that's a pretty tight timing. Because that crumble respawns really quickly. So this is the warp zone. There's like 5 or 6 doors. Oh jeez.
So this is a big shortcut into the Zone 1 remaining part.
Yeah, so now we're back in Destroyed Zone 1. You're supposed to go down the elevator and navigate through it the way that you came after you blew up Zone 1. But there's a shortcut in the warp transit area as well. So there's so many options for routing in this. It's I doubt very much that the route I'm doing is the best one. There's a lot of options to explore. But yeah, so the room name, that's not what I meant to do. The room name in the series Ridley fight said, "See you in Zone 1," and it's kind of hinting at the fact that you need to go back to Destroyed Zone 1 to face Ridley here. Now, Now, I didn't get to show this off because I messed up the bomb spread, but Ridley is actually vulnerable to bombs and takes quite a bit of damage from them. One of the other interesting things is that bombs, I believe the weapon tanks do not affect the amount of damage that your bombs do. So using bombs on him is actually the strategy to fight Ridley in low percent. But the reward for beating Ridley, and this is absolutely required, is Speed Booster. Now I'm just gonna run right out of this door, but that door locks behind you pretty quickly. Not that quickly, but quickly enough. And so most people who play this for the first time, they're gonna get Speed Booster, and that door is gonna shut behind them, and they had to do like this really tiny little escape sequence with lava rising, and it just spits you out at a different part of this area. It's slower, so if you know that you can get out of the door in time, there's no need to go through that. But that's not something that a lot of people realize. And so I'm gonna be leaving out the back door via the warp zone, like I came in, just because it's faster than going through the front. And you need grapple to be able to I forget which way. One of the directions requires grapple. I don't remember which one. There's a way to get around it in one of the directions. So now that I have Speed Booster, I can get another W tank. And because I chose not to fight Bomb Chorizo in Zone 1, there was a W tank I could have gotten in Zone 1 if I had fought Bomb Chorizo. So there's another one later that I'll have to get as well that's a bit slow. But that... Okay, that was...
Yeah, this is hard. This is really tight.
Yeah, that was hard. Oh no.
Oof. Oh no.
Okay,
So
I'm going all the way down and trying that again. I need to get that Shrine Spark. I just kind of jumped the gun on turning into the door. Also, I forgot to mention Shrine Spark control. It's probably a good time to mention that. Come on.
You can use the...
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot I blew it out. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there's a W tank in here, and I need as much health as I can get, because this room is, I think this room's a heated room. It is, right?
Yeah, it is, but this is like a new, kind of a new mechanic. There's like some rooms that are heated, but if there's water in it, if you stay in water, you don't take damage. But the water go down, so you need like this is actually a challenge room, but Azder is just like skipping everything using Shine Spark.
Yeah, that's not. That is a possible solution for that room, but it's not like the main intended one. It's more of a shortcut. Like
Yeah, like most blind player will do the normal challenge, and then if they replay the game, they will kind of see that there's options for it to go faster.
Mm-hmm. And that room is very trivial once you have the suit upgrade here, the Toxin Heat suit, which is. Am I supposed to go this way?
Which is a Varia suit, basically.
Yeah, it's basically Varia. But it doesn't route very well to pick it up after Varia. After I pick up Varia, I want to continue along this path that I'm going on right now. So it just for the routing, I wanted to pick it up at the time that I did. And that's actually the reason that I routed in the E reducer, because it significantly lowers the amount of damage that you take. So Shine Spark control, you can see I can like steer my Shine Spark. I can change direction, turn 90 degrees.
But the thing is that the Shine Spark is like really slow with it, because like the player need to see ahead of him. So the Shine Spark is really slow. So for speedrunner, the Shine Spark is not that useful, except for some specific location.
Yeah, it pretty much changes how it works. But it still does 1 damage per frame. And when your Shine Spark is moving very, very slowly, 1 damage per frame is
Also, the blue fog is healing Samus.
Yeah, there's other colors of fog that will damage you, but the blue one is healing. The different colors will damage you different amounts. So green, I think, is the least damaging, and then there's yellow, and then there's red in Zone 3, which is like very, very damaging. But yeah, so I needed to get that E reducer to be able to survive Shine Sparking through what's it called? The challenge room.
Oh, you mean the one with the water?
Yeah.
The heat effect. It's the moisture challenge. Yeah, it's the moisture challenge. And you are pretty low on energy.
This Crocomire fight is not very good at registering the hits properly.
Yeah, I need to change that. And now you need to wait for his animation, like in the vanilla game. So he's like melting, and you need to wait for it because the screen is locked.
Yeah, these tiles are Hyperbeam tiles. Somebody made them years and years ago. They're one of like the public resources. I think the Shine Spark control is like that as well.
Yeah, the Shine Spark control is actually it's used in another hack which is called Escape 2. So it's not the first time that we have a Shine Spark control.
I forgot how to do this actually, but you can pick up the missile and the suit at the same time, and it makes it so that you get the missile before the suit warps you away.
It's a bit silly, but it works. So now the room state have changed and the enemies are stronger. Because there's somewhat a story to it, which is a bit similar to Fusion. There's like some parasites, which are the little bugs, and they are dark. And the parasites, oh shit, you missed it. The parasites are like invading all the planet, and you basically need to like kill them and to escape to the surface. And this was a weird sound. So yeah, the parasites are like making some of the enemies stronger in the room.
Getting up there the way it did, that also needs respin to be able to work. This area, I don't need to be anywhere near here. But there's a W tank that I want to get here. And there's a puzzle with the reflect enemies there. But it's a very annoying puzzle, and if you know that you can bomb out those blocks and go behind here, you can just skip it.
Yeah, for exploration player, they can just like, if they are good to explore, they can find this place and skip the whole puzzle.
It's a really annoying puzzle.
Yeah, this puzzle is really like something.
Oh, this is a cool strat. Oh, whoops.
Close enough. But yeah, the hack is like really new, so there's not a lot of strat. Like there's like way more strat you can find for it. That's for sure.
That's kind of scary.
This was pretty good. You did good there.
Oop, oh, okay. No, it's fine. I feel like you changed the top of Big Perp, because I remember falling down way further before.
Yeah. I needed to add a new item there.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
A lot of this is actually like pretty dangerous. There's all these acid pits. If I make a big mistake in one of these rooms, it can be over pretty fast. So there's another E reducer here. The way that the E reducers work is that if you don't have any, you take 1 damage every single frame that you're transporting. If you have 1, then you take damage every 3 frames, and if you have 2, you take damage every 5 frames. So it adds, every one you get, it gives you an extra 2 frames without damage. So it reduces the energy drain a lot. And it's pretty much, I pretty much need to have those 2 to be able to survive some of the longer shrine sparks that I want to do. So like I said, there's a lot of ways to route the individual zones in this game. The first E reducer that I got pretty much decided most of the route for Zone 2. It was that important. Also, there's this strat here, like if you don't do this Shrine Spark, if you do this Shrine Spark, you can hit a chain block there. Chain block is another custom thing that, well, I mean, it's in Fusion, but it's custom code in SM. That speed blocks a chain block that breaks all of these. Otherwise, you'd have to bomb a lot of them manually.
Which
and also,
is,
Shrine Sparking through that is just
yeah,
faster.
the other way, like if you bomb the block, it's a bit slower. So. And now he's going to fight the boss of Zone 2.
That's a good time to read donations if there's any. That fight's actually pretty tough. This is probably the most dangerous of the 3 escapes that you have to do. Aw, really? Come on. I really wanted that speedball. Would have broken all of those bomb blocks. Nice, okay. At least I got that.
Yeah, you got that one.
Okay, that's Zone 2. Zone 3 is probably... Zone 2 is, like, kind of all-around dangerous, but Zone 3 is, like... I don't know how to describe it. It's, the end of it is basically do everything right or you die. The beginning of it isn't too bad. But the beginning of it is, has a lot of water, and the gravity suit is here, and I will be skipping it since we actually skip so much of the water area that it doesn't really matter. Nice, okay. You're supposed to grapple through this area, it's kind of annoying. annoying. Those flying, like, they look like witches on broomsticks. Those are grapple enemies. That's how you're supposed to do the room. I want to get a run through here.
This is a new strat for you.
This Shrine Spark is important. So I'm taking kind of a sort of unintended route to the first Powerbomb pack. It's not wholly unintended, I guess, but there's a lot of different ways to get to it, and most of them involve going through a lot of water. Oh, come on.
Oh, shit.
Yo.
Ooh, that was good. Yes. Yes.
Also, this is my favorite, my absolute favorite track of Ascent custom music.
Yeah, this hack use custom music, but they are actually public, so everybody can use them. They are made by Cut Power, which is a speedrunner, and his music are really good. And they have been converted by Metaquarius, which is another hacker, and he's working on X-Fusion, which is really anticipated.
So this area, this is Cut Power's Upper Norfair remix. This area is really dangerous. I have health. I don't know. It's fine. That was almost not fine. Oh, if I fell in the acid there, it would have been quite bad.
This is basically a Mario 3 the boat level.
So I'm supposed to have gravity suit and a lot more energy tanks and some reserves. There's like, what, 8 reserve tanks in this game? 7 or 8?
Yeah, there's 8 reserve tank.
Oh, why are you here? Like I normally
use missile.
Oh, that's Side Opera's color-coded red, right? For missile.
Yeah.
So I mentioned, oh, whoops. I mentioned gates before, in addition to the doors that are locked by letter door caps. But I think I skipped having to do all of the gates that were actually in zones 1 and 2. But the end of zone 3 is pretty much all about required gates. So the first one I'm about to hit right here, you're kind of supposed to hit it from the other side and climb this big room. You're supposed to get Ice Beam and then climb this room full of Veers and freeze them to climb up, and it's this whole ordeal. But there are like secret ways that you can get into other areas of the late game part of Zone 3 here. So now that I destroyed that gate, what the gates do, that gate I just destroyed, it changes a bunch of room states. So now this room state is changed. There's a wall here that wasn't there before. But there was this whole big barricade thing here with the shutter that you can't destroy, and now that's gone. And now I have easy access to this elevator, which goes to the actual final area. It's just kind of different parts of Zone 3. So this area is really dangerous, and these are basically like the contaminated labs or something. Now I'm gonna use pretty much all of my missiles to destroy this giant Zebetite. This Zebetite is a shortcut to let you get to a gate that you're supposed to hit. It lets you get to it a lot more easily. Oh, nice.
First try, get glitch.
So that gate I'm supposed to get from the other side, and there's a bunch of Metroids you get to deal with, and a few really hard and pretty slow rooms, actually. But because I had enough firepower to destroy that Zebetite, I was able to skip all of that. So that gate unlocks this area, which I'm carrying that Shrine Spark into so that I can take this shortcut through this room, because as you can see, this room is very deadly if you go the bottom path. And you actually have to go the bottom path in low percent. It's really bad.
Yeah, low percent is really low and it's really hard.
Low percent pretty much taught me how to do these rooms without dying, because these rooms are also very difficult. But since I know how to do them in low percent, they're actually like a lot safer in any percent. I pretty much do the same strategy. So this gate, that's the last gate, I think.
Yes, this is the last gate.
Yeah. Okay. So that gate unlocks the doors to the final boss rush, and that is at the top of that big room called Contamination, which I was already at the top of earlier. So now I have to go back up there. So it's important through all this that I conserve enough health to do this Shrine Spark. Again, that's why I got a couple of extra E-tanks.
Also, we just saw that there was a room name called Les Tabarnak. Fait que c'est comme l'indice que c'est genre québécois en fait. Fait que je trouve ça cool. J'ai pu au moins mettre ça. Fallait au moins mettre un affaire québécois là-dedans parce que c'est quand même un hack québécois. Fait que fallait bien mettre de quoi.
Okay. Alright, final boss rush. So there's a lot more to do in the hack. There's a lot of complexity. There's a lot of places that I didn't go. I didn't get any of the, oh. That's fine. This path is a little bit slower, but I have boost ball, so he's not going to catch up to me anyways. This is kind of this is the chase a chase sequence of the Golden Chorizo. This red fog that's in the tunnel that's kind of like above me does a lot of damage, so I want to avoid falling in it. Really? Can you just fall with me, please? Thank you. Okay, so. Alright, so this is Gold Chorizo. You might not know too much about Gold Chorizo fights from vanilla because you can just cheese them, but obviously there are all these like treadmills in the way, so you can't do that. I don't like where he's going.
Yeah, there's some yellow arrow, and they will like push Shamus away, so we cannot like cheese it.
So I want to manipulate him so he's not jumping in those, and I'm doing a bad job of it. But if you use supers on Golden Chorizo, you'll know that he catches them and throws them back at you. But if you shoot him in the back, he won't do that. So
Can also get stuck on the door, which is fixed in the new version, the next version.
So that didn't take too long because I have 5 weapon tanks, so I do.
But yeah, on low percent, this is much longer.
Yeah.
Much longer.
All right, boss number 2. So this boss actually, it's a shorter fight in any percent than it is in 100%. For a really weird reason. Problem with 100% is that
Yeah, it's just like cheese it to death.
With 100%, you have 9 weapon tanks, so that means he disappears as soon as you shoot him with the charge beam at all, which means that you cannot stun lock him, so you have to do 5 rounds. So it's kind of funny that 100% actually is a super fight.
And he's going to the final boss, which is basically like a big parasite, which is really silly, but it's a custom boss, so that's it. There's it. It's a custom boss, so it was a bit of work to make it working, because I'm not a programmer, but it was something to do. It was fun.
So I don't have a lot of missiles, and it takes forever to kill this guy with charge beam because he's bouncing around the room. But there's a little. If you're paying close attention, you'll notice that there are enemy breakable blocks. You can see from other puzzles in the game what the enemy breakable blocks look like. And there are other puzzles with those green spike enemies where you're supposed to push them. So if you're paying attention and you see those hyper beam blocks there as well, you can realize you can get hyper beam there. That's not something that most people will figure out the first time through, but it's kind of it's almost necessary for the amount of equipment that we have in 80%.
It's basically a puzzle in the boss room. If you find how to do it, you can just like get hyper beam for the rest of the hack.
So you can actually also go through the warp zone when you're doing the escape if you opened the correct doors, but I didn't really bother opening any warp doors as I went through Zone 3, so I'm just gonna go this way. So the nice thing actually, there's a wave gate that makes this path a lot less painful. And ordinarily, like before we figured out the hyper beam stuff, because Venox put the hyper beam into that fight, but didn't really tell anyone how to do it, and I had to figure it out myself. Like he hinted at it, but I had to figure out how to do it myself before he would tell anyone. So once I figured that out, it made this part a lot nicer because instead of climbing all the way up this room, now we have hyper beam so we can shoot that wave gate open. Wave beam is really far in the aquatic area, and there's no way that it would be fast to get. So
the thing is that he also skipped a space jump, which helps a lot if you need to climb the shaft, but he skips space jump, so you need to do it the hard way.
And time.
Whew. You beat it.
Okay, so that's 6 seconds off of world record. Alright, so that is that's a pretty crazy hack. There's a lot of work that went into it, and it was a lot of fun to play with and route, and it was just the gameplay and it's really weird. It's not very similar to any Super Metroid hack that I've done before. Also, I'd like to request that we keep the feed up until the end of the credits.
Ouais, on va entendre Dear Force à la fin.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there is something at the end that I think you guys will want to see.
Also, custom credits. And yeah, you should really go see Metroid Construction if you want to play Romax of it, because this is the place for it.
Oh yeah, there's so many good ones. There's also a lot of bad ones.
Ouais, il y a beaucoup de mauvais, mais il y a quand même une coupelle de très bons, là, comme Z-Factor, Hyper Metroid ou ancien Shozo. Fait que Nature aussi, fait qu'il y en a quand même pas mal des bons. Là. C'est sûr qu'il y a beaucoup de crap là, avec tout ça, mais genre sont toutes listés par rating. Fait que c'est quand même facile de trouver ce qui est bon là aussi. Faites vos recherches un peu, puis vous allez voir là, les bons hacks.
Dear Force.
Dear Force. C'est là. Ça a été modifié juste à la fin, juste pour le run.
All right, that was it. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for that wonderful run. I really enjoyed seeing a different side of Metroid that I haven't seen before. So definitely really fun seeing that. Next up, we have a Super Mario 64 70-star run. So go ahead and stay tuned.